an abode, a house of the double axe of Labris. From the times of the first excavations by the British archaeologist Evans in the early 20th century, it still remains a mystery. Legend has it that the palace and the labyrinth had been built by Daedalus, an Athenian master in exile. The palace temple was splendidly equipped, the well-thought-out light shafts, the cypress columns and beams, sewers and even bathrooms. And seemingly, there is nothing sacred there. But at the same time, everything is sacred here. In a life not yet divided between God and Caesar, even a simple column could be rendered with incredible honor. Even its erecting carried a ritual character. But the main sanctuaries of Knossos were not the columns, but the horns of initiation. They're also a symbol of sacrifice, and maybe not only a symbol, but a tool, a scaffold for the doomed bull, an altar of the double axe. The main courtyard. Is it a cathedral square, a parliament, or an arena? A theater for fights, a stadium? Amid the ritual cries, the loud hooting of the crowd, the bull passed through this propylaeon adorned with the scene of the sacred ritual. In the courtyard, he was already waited for, at first by the participants of the dangerous game, the Tower of Catapsy, and then by the Labris, the double axe of the priest. The challenge of the axe was the bull's last challenge. With a thrust of the Labris, the bull was brought to sacrifice to the goddess, killed. And before that, he was the one that killed, or he could kill. What did the Minoan youths and maidens wish to prove to themselves and to others by placing themselves under the horns of the fierce bull? Compulsion, a game, initiation, or the conditions of taking up high ranks in society, a leap from youth to uncertainty, through horned death to a new, adult, and significant life. Whosoever does not die will not rise to life, as Christ will say in subsequent times. For someone, it's a small death and a second birth. For someone, it's simply death. Neither the small nor the large, the final, in the house of the double axe. What had struck Evans was how the palace walls were adorned with polychrome reliefs and frescoes, full of life and colors. One of them, the Prince of Lilies, became the emblem of Minoan Crete. The fresco was gathered from fragments, and they believe that it's the king priest performing the solemn rite, a sower of invisible grace. But it's more likely to be a princess, the priestess of the white goddess, leading the bull towards the sacrifice. Arthur Evans was confused by the athletic shape of the maiden. Sure, there was something to be confused about. Such legs would not appear on the scene of history for a long time. White legs. However, white in Crete is the color of woman. The color is a symbol. The color is a mark. So after all, she is a princess. And what is truly amazing is that literally following Evans's discoveries that every type of female athletic feature which had disappeared for ages will, in just a few decades, burst into the 20th century, a century of sports and dictatorships. And the great archaeologist would be able, during the course of his lifetime, to see the new Amazons, the great-great-grandchildren of Europa. And likewise leaping, isn't it dangerous and breathtaking? Extremely. Where do they run? Why do they leap? Towards whom do they soar? What gods await for them beyond the crossbar or the finishing line? To whom are they dedicating their records, their victories, themselves? And from whom are they being sent wreaths, flowers, and for some strange reason, empty goblets? Whose honor are they defending in their competitions? And whose joy is reflected in the tears of those standing on the pedestal? Whom do the hymns praise in this glorious moment? Only now she is called not the Great Mother, but the Fatherland, the Mother Earth, interflowed with Father Heaven in an eternal embrace, but having remained her. For her are tournaments carried out and victories proclaimed. For her are salutes and hymns. But back then, 3,500 years ago, her children initiated themselves not by means of sandboxes or soft mats, but the wild, enraged bull. They aspired not towards rank or gold medals, but towards the highest caste of the Minoan society, towards the collegium of priestesses, not on the pedestal, but towards the throne of the great goddess. Here, towards the feet of the goddess, a crater was brought with the blood of the bull for the sake of performing the main rite, the washing of the loins of the people's mother with blood. The mystery of conception. The victim, its suffering and blood, had conceived the fruit of the future grace. Out of this brutal rite, the Hellenic myth was born about the dark passion of Pasiphae, Minos' spouse towards Poseidon's white bull. And the fruit of this passion, the terrible Minotaur, who was he, a mutant or an invention of the Greeks? On the one hand, the Minotaur is simply the bull of Minos, his substitute on the scaffold, while on the other hand, he's a strong priest wearing a mask of bull leading the ceremonies. He was particularly remembered by the messengers from Hellas, but chiefly the secret rite and the triumph of the Minoan Crete, their promise of a blessing for the children of the Great Mother, has entered the memory of the Achaeans, the sons of the father and the sword by its abomination and whoredom. So the Hellenists had wiped him off the table of history. They had destroyed the cult of the goddess and her bull, and had destroyed one more mystery of Crete